Welcome to Yoga Within Your Home. I'm Darria, and today we will be just doing a gentle class, but you will need a strap. So make sure you have a strap handy or the tie from your bathrobe or whatever you have around your house, that will work. And we will begin today's class lying down. So you can make your way onto your back, just taking your first few moments to settle in and get comfortable. You may want to start today with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Maybe taking your feet a little wider apart and letting your knees knock together. Sometimes we call this constructive rest pose. If that doesn't feel good, feel free to have parallel legs or to straighten your legs out along the mat. You might rest your hands on the floor, palms facing up, or it could be a day where you just want to rest your hands on your belly, a little bit more grounding sometimes. Make little adjustments so you get a sense that your feet are flat on the floor, your pelvis is level. Feel the length of your spine resting on the floor. Get a sense that your shoulders are level. Do have some length in the back of your neck, and do let your head be heavy. You might softly close your eyes or just soften your gaze and begin to tune into the feeling of the breath moving in the body. Feeling that sense of expansion as you inhale, and that sense of settling as you exhale. Not trying to control the breath, but allowing the breath to fall into its own natural rhythm. Breathing in, breathing out. As you begin to draw your awareness inwards, you might just take a moment to notice how you're feeling today, physically, mentally, energetically. And just allow your observations to help guide your practice. Always remembering that it is your practice. The things that I say are just suggestions. Always feel free to modify or leave things out as you need to. Take 2 more full breaths here. And after your next exhalation, just bring a little bit of movement back into your body, moving your fingers, moving your toes, and gently rolling your head from side to side. And then coming back to the center, you can take a moment to draw your knees into your chest, maybe hold your shins or hold the backs of your thighs, and just rock a little bit from side to side. And then pause at the center. Keep your left knee tucked in towards your chest. Bring your right foot down to the ground so that knee is bent. You can lightly rest your hands on your shin. And we'll begin to move with the breath here. So finding your next inhalation, as you inhale, reach your arms out to a T and reach your left leg up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, knee comes back to chest, hands to shin. And you just flow with your own breath. Inhale, arms out to the side, leg reaches up. Exhale, back to the chest. Just a few more times, following your own breath. If your breath gets mixed up, don't worry about it, just breathe. We're just beginning to warm up the back of that left leg. You might have a straight leg, you might not. We're not worrying too much if it's straight just now. Next time You exhale and the knee comes into the chest. Just pause there for a moment. Tuck that leg in as close as you can to your abdomen, just finding a little bit of compression on that left side of the abdomen. And then release that tension in the leg. Find your strap. Wrap your strap around the ball of that left foot and straighten your leg out along your mat. And just notice here, before you move anything else, that your leg is straight, your foot is flexed, so your heel is pressing down into the ground, your toes are pointing up to the ceiling, and get a sense that your pelvis is level. So we're trying to maintain a level pelvis. And then you can have the strap in one side in each hand. Pick that leg up just so that your thighs are parallel. And you can even just kind of have a look and see if your knees are side by side, if your thighs are side by side. The strap is still around the ball of the foot, and you're pressing out through the heel. We're just going to hold here for a moment. In this variation, it's not a spectacular stretch. Like, we're not chasing sensation here. You might have sensation, you might not. But we are working at lengthening through the calf muscles more than the hamstring muscles. So just targeting a different area of the leg. From here, you want to think about your leg staying the way in the shape that it's in. So kind of imagine that you have a cast on your leg. So we're not twisting the ankle, we're not twisting the knee, but we are going to turn the toes into the center and then turn the toes out. So it's kind of a rainbowing of the foot in and out, but it's not a twisting of the ankle. The movement is coming from that femur in the hip joint as we rotate in and rotate out, as we continue to press out through the heel and continue to pull the toes back towards us. So one more time each way, and then bring that leg back to center and pause. Lower that leg down to the ground again. Slide that strap to the center of your foot. So now the strap is in the arch of your foot. And again, just take that moment to notice. Your leg is straight, your foot is flexed. Your pelvis is level. We want to keep that leg straight as we pick it up. And as your thighs are parallel, just pause here. Make sure that your leg is still straight, and notice that it probably is here. You can stay here, or you can lift your leg a little bit higher as long as you can keep that leg straight. If you're lifting it here and letting the knee bend, we're losing the integrity of the stretch that we're looking for here in this variation. So only go to the place where you can keep that straight leg. Again, you can hold the strap one in each side. The strap is in the arch of the foot this time. The heel is pressing up to the ceiling. The toes are drawing down towards the body. And it's that same action. The movement is coming from the femur in the hip joint, so it's coming from the top of your leg as you rotate your toes out and rotate your toes in. It's kind of like your leg is in a cast or a ski boot, if that's a better visualization. So we're not twisting the ankle, we're not twisting the knee. It's a rotation. And here we are working a little bit more into the hamstrings, and we're all really different, so there might be sensation, there might not be. Don't overdo anything. Go one more time in and out, and then pause at the center. You can release your strap and slowly lower that leg down to the ground. Straighten out your right leg and just lie flat for a moment and notice how lying flat feels. Notice if you feel a difference from one side to the other. You might not. And then bend your knees again. place your foot soles on the ground. This time, draw your right knee into your chest. You can hold your shin or the back of your thigh if that's better for you. And we'll begin with that movement and breath. So finding your own breath in your own time. As you inhale, arms reach out to a T, leg reaches up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, knee comes back to the chest. And you continue flowing with your own breath in your own time. Not worrying too much if the breath gets mixed up. You might notice differences from side to side. You might have more tightness or tension in the back of one leg than the other. You just kind of want to observe, be aware of those differences. Not worrying too much here about a straight leg. It might be straight, it might not be. And after your next exhale, just pause with the knee in towards the chest. Keep breathing. Tuck that knee in a little bit closer so you have a little bit of compression in the right side of your abdomen. And then release that tension on the leg. Find your strap again. Place the strap around the ball of your right foot and extend that right leg out along your mat. Just starting with the leg on the floor and observing. Your foot is flexed, heel is down, toes are up, the leg is straight, your pelvis is level, and then you're picking that leg up so that your thighs are parallel, your knees are side by side. You can hold the strap in one hand or both hands. You might have a look and just see if your legs are parallel. Sometimes we don't quite get parallel right without looking. And just pause for a couple of breaths here. And then finding that little bit of movement, the toes turn in. And you'll probably notice as you turn your toes in, it's a really tiny movement. And you have a little more mobility as you turn the toes out. It's perfectly normal. But we just want to rainbow that leg. Toes in, toes out. No ankle bending, no knee bending. The movement is coming from the top of the leg. And then one more each way. Bring the toes back to center. Lower the leg down to the ground. Shimmy that strap into the arch of your foot. Notice here your leg is straight, your foot is flexed, your pelvis is level. The leg stays straight as you pick it back up, and pause with your legs side by side. So most people have a straight leg at this level. You don't need to go any further, but if you can keep your leg straight, take your leg up a little higher, and it will just be whatever level you can maintain that straight leg and level pelvis. Again, we'll just pause here for a moment. And then find that rotation, toes in, toes out. So your foot stays flat. We don't want to twist the foot in order to move. We just want to think leg in the hip joint, bringing our toes in and our toes out. Again, you just want to observe differences from side to side. Again, working a little bit more into the hamstring on this variation. First variation was for the calf. And then bring the toes back to center. Release your strap. You can place it off to the side for a moment and slowly lower your leg down to the ground. Stretch both legs out and just for a moment lie flat and observe. Does it feel any different now that you've done both sides? Maybe yes, maybe no. Bend your knees. Bring both knees in towards the chest. You can lightly rest your hands on top of your knees and just make little circles. So the knees are circling together. You're making little circles over your sacrum. A couple of times clockwise and then a couple of times counterclockwise. And then pause at the center. Bring your feet down towards the floor. Bring your foot soles together and take your knees wide apart. If this shape doesn't feel good today, you can certainly bring your knees back together and take your feet wide like we started at the beginning of class. From here, the arms reach up towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands and bring the heels of your hands together. And then from here, think about kind of keeping your ribs in towards your body. So we don't want to puff the ribs up. We want to control the ribs or contain the ribs. And you'll take the arms up overhead. Maybe the arms touch the floor, maybe they don't. But we're not trying to like lift the rib cage. We want to keep the ribs down and reach our arms overhead. So don't worry too much about if your arms touch the floor, but we'll go a few times bringing the arms forward and taking the arms back. Just being mindful of what your ribs are doing. They'll move a tiny bit, but we don't want that big overarching of the back to let the arms move. We'll do one more of these. Bring the arms back up. Release the arms down to the floor and pause. Take a couple of breaths here. And after your next exhalation, help your knees back up to center. You might just rock your knees a little bit from side to side. Let that go. And then in any way that works for you, help yourself up to a seated position. And actually today we will start with our legs extended. So coming into kind of Dandasana, which is a staff pose. And if you like to sit on the edge of a blanket or block, for sure you could do that. Or you could just kind of move your fleshy bits out of the way so that you can feel your sitting bones on the ground. With both sitting bones down, lift the spine up and sit tall. And just let your feet be relaxed. So your legs are relaxed, your feet are relaxed. You could have a little bit of space between your feet. The spine lengthens up tall, and we're just going to lean forward. So kind of a sloppy forward fold. We're not really putting any effort into the legs. They're fairly relaxed. And you just want to notice how that feels. And then pick yourself up. And then next variation, activate your legs. So your legs are strong. You might have to put something under your knees like a blanket roll, or you might need to lift your hips up a little bit higher to make this comfortable for your hamstrings. Root your heels down into the ground, toes point up to the ceiling, spine lifts up tall. Arms can reach out in front of you, and we'll lean forward again. Don't worry about how far you go, you can just let your hands relax. But again, just notice how this feels. Now your legs are active, and it might feel different. It's just observation. And then pick yourself up. You can shake your legs out a little bit. Next variation, point your toes. So a different shape for the legs, not a big difference, but it is a difference. Sit up tall, lengthen your spine. You could reach your arms out in front or just walk your hands down your legs. And again, lean forward in your forward fold. We're not worrying so much about it looking perfect. We just want to notice differences when we change the legs. And then walk yourself back up. You can shake your legs out again. Our next variation, we'll take our strap again. You might fold your strap in half or not, it doesn't really matter. Hold the strap in front of you so that your hands are about shoulder width apart. Your legs are strong, so the heels are pressing down into the ground, the toes are pointing up to the ceiling, and you'll sit up tall. Notice if your shoulders are scrunching up to your ears, and don't do that. Let the shoulders drop down. Don't think about it, just do it. Pull the strap apart as if you could rip the strap in half just by pulling it apart. And as you do that, you'll feel the backs of your shoulders turn on. Shoulders are still down, but now the backs of your shoulders are working. You're kind of trying to draw your shoulder blades together as you pull that strap apart. And then keep pulling the strap apart, but press it forward. So now a different forward fold. Legs are strong, heels are down, toes are pointing up. You're pulling the strap apart. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together. You might be shaking a little bit. And then pick yourself up. Release that strap, give your shoulders a little roll. And then one more variation. So take your strap, wrap the strap around the balls of the feet. Give yourself enough length so that you can sit up tall. Again, your shoulders are relaxing down, the spine is lengthening. You may have a little space between your feet. You may have a little bend to your knees. This might be your forward fold, or maybe you walk yourself forward, thinking of those same actions as last time. When we pulled the strap apart, we could squeeze the shoulder blades together. So think of squeezing your shoulder blades together and leaning forward with your upper chest. Take another breath here. Just notice the difference in each of the forward folds. And then walk yourself back up. Release that strap. You can place it off to the side for a moment. Give those legs a shake. Bounce them out a little bit. Bring your foot soles together and then hold your ankles or hold your feet and rock a little bit from side to side. And then come back to center, lift up tall, and let your chin drop down towards your chest. Just a little bit of length for the back of the neck. One more breath here. Pick your head back up. Help your knees back up to center. Place one foot in front of the other and see if you can pick yourself up without using your hands. And then if that went well, you can cross your ankles and sit back down again. Change sides so the other foot is in front. See if you can pick yourself up without using your hands. And then stand tall. Always feel free to ignore me, use your hands where you need to, but it's a good practice to get into, not using your hands when you come up to standing. It's a little bit of core strength we can add into our day. Standing in Tadasana. Feet a little bit apart, toes are spread wide, fingers reach for the floor, chins parallel to the floor, top of the head reaches for the ceiling. Just pause for a moment here. Bring your hands to the tops of your shoulders and just start to make little circles with your elbows. So you might start small and gradually make those circles bigger. So many of us have shoulder issues. So on days when my shoulders are sore, I know this is enough for me. Some days it's too much. So if shoulder circles don't feel good today, change the direction. You can always leave these out or modify in a way that doesn't hurt your shoulders. One more this direction. Relax your arms. From here, doesn't matter which arm you start with, but keep that arm straight and start to make big circles with that arm, as big as you can without bending your elbow. So if you bend the elbow, it kind of gets a little bit wonky. We want to keep that arm as straight as we can and draw a circle with a straight arm. Change the direction. It's just a slightly different movement for that shoulder. And then pause, other side. So the elbow is straight. We go one direction, as big as we can. I have some shoulder issues, so your circles might definitely be bigger than mine. They might be smaller. We work with what we have on any given day. Go in this other direction. And then pause. You can kind of shake up the arms a little bit. Come back to Tadasana. So a little bit of coordination. You can do this with your hands on top of your shoulders, or you can do this with straight arms. We're going to think about moving the arms in opposite directions. So you might take your right arm forward, your left arm back, and they circle around and back together. So just trying to move those arms in circles without bending your elbows, and they're going in opposite directions. And then pause, see if you can do it the other way. So maybe the left arm goes forward, the right arm goes back, and they circle around and back together. And you can see it's a bit of a brain exercise. I totally encourage you to try this in front of the mirror. It will make it so much harder for you. And then the next time the arms come down, just let them relax and shake it out a little bit. Come back to Tadasana, just pause here. Bring your hands to your pelvis. From here, just get a sense that your pelvis is sort of even, so we're not twisting to one side, where the fronts of the pelvis are pointing forward equally. Shift your weight into your left foot and pick up your right heel. This will definitely be balanced, so if you need to move towards a wall or something you can hold on to, for sure do that. And this might be where you stay. This might be enough for today, or you can pick that leg up. So point your toes, think of your sort of thigh being parallel to the floor, and just start to rainbow the bottom part of your leg. So your toes are going in and out, but again, we're not twisting the ankle to move the leg. It's that movement of the leg and the hip joint. And the next time your toes point to the left, pause. Don't touch the foot to the leg. The leg is out in space, but you might bend your standing leg a little bit, so you're a little bit bouncy here. Bring your thumb and forefinger to touch. Spread your other fingers wide. Reach your arms out in front of you and bend your elbows, so your palms are facing you. Again, this might be a good place to stay, or you might be able to take your leg, that right leg, over to the left. Take your arms over to the right. And then totally bonus time, you might be able to look over your left shoulder, coming into quite a big balancing position. Bring your head, your arms, your legs back to center. Release your arms. Release your leg to the floor and walk it out a little bit. It's kind of one of those old yoga poses. I want to say it's called dancing Shiva, but I could totally be wrong about that, so don't quote me. Come back to Tadasana. Stand for a moment, just get that sense of being strong and balanced. Pelvis is level. Weight shifts to the right foot and you pick up the left heel. Notice you don't do this when you pick up that heel, you're standing strong. And this might be enough for today. Or you pick up your left leg, point your toes. You start to rainbow the lower part of your leg from side to side. Movement is coming from the leg in the hip joint. The next time the toes move to the right, pause. Find some softness in your standing leg. Thumb and forefinger touch, other three fingers spread, arms reach forward. Bend the elbows, palms face you. Option is to take your left leg over to the right, take your arms over to the left, and then maybe you turn to look over your right shoulder. You're definitely breathing. Finding a spot to look at that's not moving will be helpful. One more breath. Bring everything back to center. Release your arms. Release that leg. Walk it out. Let that go. Beautiful. Back to Tadasana. Relax your arms. Take a breath. Find your strap. You could do this next sequence just with your hands on your hips if your shoulders have had enough. Otherwise, take your strap and hold your strap so that you can bring your arms up overhead, but give yourself enough strap to make that comfortable. So we don't want to have the shoulders shrugged up towards the ears. You want to find a place where you can straighten your elbows and drop your shoulders down. Slightly squeeze your shoulder blades together. So for me, the strap is quite wide. I have a lot of space there. For you, you might be a little closer together or a little wider apart. But you just want to watch shoulders down, shoulder blades squeezed together, elbows are straight. From here, bend over to the left. Pick yourself up, bend to the right. Pick yourself up, pause, twist to the left. Feet stay on the floor, we're not shifting the feet at all. Back to center, twist right. Back to center, pause. Here you may want to release the strap and place your hands on your low back. Maybe you keep the strap in your hands. You root down through your feet. Your legs are strong. You start to lift up through the belly, through the chest. It's like your sternum is reaching for the ceiling, and you look up slightly as you come into a very soft back bend. We're not overdoing anything here. We're just opening up through the front of the body. Bring yourself back up. Release that strap down. You can just drop your strap. You might widen your feet. You might bend your knees and place your elbows on the tops of your legs. Just look down towards the floor so that your head is an extension of your spine. And maybe if this is the place to stay, if you have any pressure in your head, you just stay here for another 2 breaths. Or maybe you release your upper body coming into a forward fold. Knees can be soft. Maybe you hold your elbows. And then walk yourself back up to standing. Roll your shoulders. And then relax. We'll do that just one more time. So again, just finding that length that works for you. Maybe your arms are a little closer together this time. Maybe the hands are on the hips this time. Stand tall. This time bend to the right. Come back up. Bend left. Back to standing. Twist to the right. Back to center. Twist left. Back to center. A little bit of softness to the legs. You're lifting, you're coming up through the center of your body, lifting that chest, lifting the sternum, looking up slightly, just opening up through the front body. Come back up to standing. Release the arms down. Either pause in that halfway forward fold or make your way into your full forward fold. Take 2 breaths here. Walk yourself back up to standing. Roll those shoulders. And then if you can, see if you can come back down to seated without using your hands. And sit tall for just a moment. And then you can make your way onto your back again. As you come onto your back, take a moment to draw your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then find your way into a comfortable position for Shavasana, our last few moments of relaxation, just placing your body in a way that it can find some ease, whether that's legs straight or knees bent, arms on the floor, or hands on the body. Do you get the sense that your pelvis is level? Feel the length of your spine resting on the floor. Just noticing where it touches the floor and where it doesn't. Get a sense that your shoulders are level. Do have some length in the back of your neck. Do let your head be heavy. Allow your jaw to relax. Feel your forehead soften. Let go of those tiny muscles around your eyes. Feel your heart beating. Feel your breath coming and going. Just taking these next few moments to rest and enjoy a few moments of peace. Time where you can simply be. If you are happy here and you want to stay longer, just ignore me. Otherwise, begin to deepen your breath, drawing your awareness back and bringing some gentle movement into your body. You might like to take a moment to roll to one side. Just pause there. And then in any way that works for you, help yourself up to a seated position. Coming to a comfortable seat. And bring your hands out to the side and gather up all of the positive energy you've created. And draw it into your heart. Pause for a moment of gratitude. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.